welcome to another episode of Northern Ruckus. It's TJ here with my boy Big Jimbo.
Yeah, man, I'm in the cut with our boy Hassan.
What's poppin',
Hassan,
guys?
introduce yourself, bro.
My name is Hassan Phills. I'm a comic, stand-up comic. I'm from the city of Toronto, Scarborough specifically. And yeah, man.
You're currently on tour right now, right?
Yeah. I'm currently on tour. It's kind of winding down a bit. I did my last shows here in Toronto. There's a lot more shows than I thought I would end up doing. I ended up doing like 5.
Okay.
It's all done, and now I'm going to London, UK for this.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah.
Are you doing it with like a bunch of other comedians? Or?
I have like a few of my friends. One's coming from Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
It's another comic. His name's Alistair Ogden. We started comedy together in Vancouver, and then he moved to Toronto. And him and I have been kind of like doing this tour on a tandem, and he's gonna be there. Okay. He's gonna be there. And then I met up with I've been in contact with a bunch of other comics on that side to help me kind of like produce the show and make it a thing. And it's been working.
I was gonna ask, like, are you documenting the whole tour?
Pretty much, but it's also it's challenging to document it yourself because I'm already wearing so many hats. Like I'm producing the show, I'm marketing the show.
You're performing.
I'm performing, but even sometimes I remember I'm like, flip, I gotta perform. What the hell am I gonna say today, or what am I working on?
So obviously, when it comes to stand up comedy, everyone wonders that. Like, what's your process when it comes to coming up with the jokes? You like sit there and write shit down? You go up there and freestyle? Like, what do you do?
It's a bit of both. It's kind of like I have like my fundamentals of like the script that I have and the set that I want to work on, but then I guess part of like the experience is trying to learn how to like
crowd work and all that.
Crowd work, and also it's like crowd surf or whatever. Like you just gotta ride the waves that come with you, come with the show. And I feel like in the process of like doing this whole tour, if I wasn't wearing all these hats, I probably wouldn't get as much time anywhere else. So I feel like I'm on that route to like do 10,000 hours in that kind of regard.
That's sick. So I don't know if you know, but on the show we usually started off with like a random would you rather question. Mm-hmm. Most of the time it's goofy and stupid, but because I know you're a comedian, so you're most likely goofy and stupid, I want to ask you a serious question.
Mm-hmm.
So would you rather have a Netflix special drop today of your work that you're performing right now on your sets, or an episode of Rogan?
An episode of Rogan. I'd probably do an episode of Rogan.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like a lot of comedians go on Rogan to get a special type shit.
No, I mean, like, I think I'd enjoy the dialogue more so than I think that's like a wealth of experience. I mean, the Netflix special is like, it's more, right. I'd rather have it earned than given to me, or like by the grace of like, oh, would you rather?
Yeah. No, for real,
but I think, man, I do a conversation with Rogan.
Taking this guy Jimmy, never knew that Rogan was a comedian until like 2-3 months ago, and we did an episode and I said that. I was like, Joe Rogan's a comedian? I'm like, yeah, nigga.
I thought he was just a UFC announcer, Fear Factor guy.
Bro, that guy does everything.
Yeah, he wears a lot of hats too.
So many that he's been in the game in that regard, but also like, man, from hosting UFC,
it's
everything. Podcasting was like,
podcasting just what put him on the map type shit. But like, he was doing everything before that.
In a way, he's kind of like Joe Budden, I guess. Like in that like music, he was doing like Joe Budden was doing music, and then the podcasting was the one. What kind of like propelled him a little bit?
Drake, because Drake was like, this nigga was never a musician. A failed musician just wants to talk shit.
But Joe Rogan, he's not a failed comic either, but he's a comic, and then just this avenue.
Yeah, the way it came up is because I said I don't think Joe Rogan's funny as a comic, but then he was like, he's not a comic. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, I just don't like his comedy personally, but it's stuff. Like, doesn't mean he's not good.
I had no idea, but then he's the biggest podcaster in the world. So there you go. Mm-hmm. You never know what'll do it for you.
Mm-hmm. The more you know.
Yo, so I have a question for you as a comic. Like, I don't know what kind of comedy exactly you do, but is there ever a time where you get like a premise that's way too out of pocket that you can't like put into a joke? Like you try to work on it, and no matter what you do, it's just too offensive type shit?
I think like stand-up comedy is more intimate than people really think it is. Like you're really sharing what goes on in between your ears, and that somehow is connected to your heart. So if that's like where, like when people are watching you go do or workshop a joke of that subject matter, people could probably like look at you like, this is what you're thinking about in your free time. You know, this is what you think about, and like, and it's kind of like you have a moment. I mean, obviously, when everything is still being workshopped, you could be like, some people might give you the grace and be like, oh, okay, I kind of see where you're going with this, and I get it. But sometimes if you gotta force it, man, I don't think it's like, that's not my thing.
But no, but I'm saying, like, do you ever, like, in your head where you're just thinking of the premise, be like, yo, this would be hilarious to do, but then you can't make it funny, kind of thing. Like,
yeah, that's why I just
find the, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you ever just like work it out with your friends or something? Or
oh yeah, for the group chat, man.
Yeah,
send that shit to the group chat, man. You, and then every day you send that to the group chat, just you. Niggas laughing. I'll be like, okay, if I'm not gonna say this on stage, it's dropping right here, man. This is where it'll die, man.
So that's where the real comedy is.
100%, man. All my friends, honestly, most of my friends are probably way funnier than me. They just I feel like every comic has like
a funnier friend.
Funnier friend. Just isn't doing stand-up comedy, and I have a plethora. So
why don't you just leech off of them and take their jokes?
Oh, 100%. Man. I'll be like, yeah, man. I'm plagiarizing from the group chat. MLA, APA format, whatever one it is, man. It's in there, man.
Why don't you get any of them on stage with you?
Nah, man. They don't have aspirations for comedy, really.
Not even just like a one-time, like 5-minute set type shit.
Honestly, some of them would, but nah, man. They just love
don't want to force it. Yeah,
they
funny people.
It's got to be way different, anyways. Just being a funny person and going on stage and cracking jokes. Yeah,
big difference. Because I think like, I mean, it's kind of like almost any art, man. I feel like you probably run around people like, oh man, I could just do that, man, and then they do it, and it's like, oh wait, this takes a lot of.
Well, were you always funny though? Like growing up in school, like were you like the class clown? You always had people laughing, or what?
I was, but I was more of like, I was very quiet though. Like it took me a while to like.
Really?
Yeah. I was a very timid guy, man. I would speak when spoken to, and then when I would speak, it'd be funny. And then if it was like, because I realized if you were talking a lot, nobody really cared about what you're saying. And so whenever I said something, when it was like few and far between, it just really, man, you just hit him with the punchlines.
But
man.
You weren't like a guy in class that's just being disruptive. Like whenever the teacher says something stupid, you have like that one-liner that comes out.
Honestly, I had my years, man. Some years I was just like I was MVP of that shit, and then some other years, some other years I was just like, you know what? Let me cool down. Let me calm down. High school, I think I kind of like changed it a little bit. High school, because I ended up going to a new school. My mom. You know how like you make the transition from middle school to to high school. All my friends were going to like Birchmount Collegiate, and my mom was like, yeah, and I was like, Mom was like, what schools did you apply to? And I said, oh man, I did David Mary Thompson. And then Birchmount. She said, what? I said, yeah, this is David Mary Thompson. And then she's and so when the school year was about to start, my mom and I went back to school shopping. She goes, so what school did you end up picking? And I was like, oh, man, it turns out the other schools didn't really take me, you know? They didn't get my application for some reason. So I guess I got to go to Birchmount. It's like school starts in like 2 weeks. It's kind of too late to change. Crazy. My mom took me by the ear, took me to Birchmount. Said, yo, give me this nigga's transcripts. And we went to another school. And she's like, yeah, man, I don't want you to be the same guy you were last year with the same friends and everything. You got to learn how to reinvent yourself.
As a kid, that would break your heart.
It would, but it does make you grow. I changed schools a lot growing up, and it does make you grow.
Yeah, but it's like your parents just ripping you from your friend group. It's like, shit, you gotta start all over now.
Yeah, but I still keep in touch with that same friend group. We're still friends to this day. But honestly, it molded me differently, man.
Yeah, you could. I feel like first day of school with not knowing anybody would be like actually the scariest shit as a kid. Like think about high school. It's like, yo, it's doggy dog in that shit. Yeah, like everybody's out to like just make a name, especially in grade 9 and stuff. That they're doing the stupidest shit, and if you're that kid that has no friends, it's like.
But you didn't go to like Deer Park, and you went to Northern.
No, but I went to Oakwood first. Grade 9 and 10, I was at Oakwood, and that's where I went to Winona, which is right there. So it's like I knew everybody. And then when I went to Northern, I was like a football player, so I knew everybody there too. So it's like Like I had a good experience in high school, a great experience.
But I think sports will give you that grace.
Yeah, sports it builds you friends, especially football because that shit starts in September, right? So it's like.
But you used to play ball, right?
I used to play ball, man. Ball was my thing.
Your hoop dreams?
Yeah, I had hoop dreams. I pretty much lived my hoop dreams. I was like, I did everything I wanted to do except for the league. You know, obviously the league was the end goal, but.
What did you play in college?
I played college. I played a little bit overseas, and I was like, yeah, man. I university.
Yeah.
I went to Capilano University in North Vancouver. It's like a CCAA.
And that's where you met your boy, right?
Yeah. That's where I met my boy, and kind of.
So you were nice then.
I was nice, man.
Have you ever played with Jimmy?
No, maybe.
This guy claims
no,
he's
no, I don't
good,
think
but
so.
I'm like, nigga, there's no way. There's no way.
Hey, I used to be way better than I am now, to be honest.
Yeah. Basketball was like kind of like my passport, man. I went from I went to like in high school I was able to go to almost every neighborhood in the city or and like when citywide was a thing, citywide basketball. Man, I went and most of those friends and relationships that I had was just through going through these basketball tryouts or hanging out.
Even how he said like it's tough when you're like a new kid, but yeah, I moved around like 20 different schools growing up. But whenever you could play ball, it's easy. Just pull up, play ball. All of a sudden, you got a bunch of new friends. Like, as soon as the runs are done,
if you're good.
Yeah,
because if you're that shit guy that's taking all the shots and niggas like yo pass the ball, it's like they're not gonna be friends with you.
Shit, I don't know what that's like. Bro.
Yeah. Can't relate.
Yo, I had no hoop dreams, so don't ask me. So after playing all this basketball and shit, like actually trying to like you lived out like you said your hoop dreams. How did you get into comedy? Like what phased you into comedy?
So I was doing school. I was doing basketball at the time. I was like also trying to do YouTube. And I was working and I had like a relationship. I was doing a bunch of things in my life just half-ass, and I was trying to do comedy. And I was in my last year. I didn't start doing comedy until I was in my like fourth year university. And yeah, man, I was just doing a bunch of shit. All of it was half-ass. Like my YouTube videos were I wasn't trying to be like a big time YouTuber. Honestly, I was just cataloging my youth and my journey with basketball with my friends as well. And then I started doing comedy, and then man, I was just like I had to pick and choose like if it was gonna be basketball or if it was gonna be content creation or even just comedy because content creating was still different than stand-up, which I like because at one point when I was vlogging, I was like, man, every day I'm just volunteering personal information, for the internet, Niggas are getting a scope on like what my bedroom situation is like and everything. I was just like, man, this may be a little bit too much. And then I fell in love with like the genius of stand-up, just telling a story and kind of walking away from it. And it kind of felt like and the journey of it too is it's the same as basketball, where it's like you shoot, you miss, you make, you get your rebound, you shoot again. Yeah. Whereas and in comedy, you go, you perform, you do well or you bomb or it is what it is, but you grab the ball, you go up again the next day or another time after, and it's kind of addictive, man. You don't even know where it's gonna go.
Do you remember the worst bomb you've ever had?
It was actually pretty recent to me, man. It was pretty recent. I was like, before it was like, one time I bombed in the UK, and this was me just like a week into comedy, a couple months into comedy. I was just traveling and I was trying to do a show, and I just bombed in front of these Jamaicans. Like they're all like Rasta. They were like 40 years old and shit. And I said the N-word, and they were like, yo.
They were having it, huh?
Yeah, you don't have the N-word pass? Yeah,
nah. They were just like, yo, we don't use the word like nigga, them thing there. We don't give that. It's a form of oppression. We don't give that word no power. And I was like, yo, my bad, man. I didn't even know that.
From there it was awkward, huh?
Yeah, from there it was mad awkward, man. I got this TED talk and everything, and then in the middle of my set, and one dude turned around. He turned around. Like he turned his chair around, is what I'm saying. Like
I'm not even listening.
Yeah, I'm not even paying attention to this nigga, man.
In that moment, do you like be finding shit funny to yourself, or like you can't even crack jokes on it?
You have to crack jokes at it because you're like, yo, you can't write this type of shit.
Yeah,
this is godsend. I was like, yo, and They were just acting like I was eating pork in front of them. That's how crazy. That's in my mind. I'm like, "Oh, are you guys good, man?" And I was like, "Yo, should I just leave?" Because that's you never, that's you got to do your time, and I've never done that before. I've asked the crowd, "Yo, do you guys want me to go? Are you guys cool if I just leave?" And never thought I'd even get an answer, to be honest. One guy in the very back, "Yeah, man, get off of the stage." And so I was like, "Oh shit, man!" And the thing is that Jamaicans they don't boo you, right? They applaud you and shit. They be like, "Yeah, man, good try, man." I was like, "Yo," when I was getting off the stage, I felt like I headlined that shit, man. I was like, "Yeah, man, I'll be here all week." They said, "Yeah, don't come back, man." Okay, that shit, man.
So is it just stand up comedy you want to do, or do you have like aspirations of being in movies and stuff as a comedian too?
I have aspirations of being an like actor, getting into acting and stuff. But I'm not gonna lie, man. I suck at lines, man. I'm like,
but isn't your whole set of lines essentially?
But this is all me.
Yeah,
it's off the top, man. Like to be an actor, you really have to like bring a character to life and personify another nigga's image,
I've acted in a movie before. It never ended up coming out, but even then, like the director gave us lines.
That came with a subtle flex.
The director gave us lines, but like it wasn't like we had to stick right to the lines. It's like you become the person, and he just says, "This is the point we're trying to get across." I feel like you don't have to remember it bar for bar, like
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to remember.
Especially as a comedian, like your job is just to be funny. Like the more you ad lib, the better, because they can't really write funny shit.
No, and I'm learning. I'm learning that because I've been in these like writing rooms and stuff like that, and I guess I have like some sort of like imposter syndrome. Like sometimes I'm like, yo, maybe I'm not. How am I even in here? How am I doing this?
Do you ever feel like that on stage? Like when you see like, let's say 800 people in crowd just looking at you, ready for you to talk. Like
maybe I'm not that funny.
Maybe I'm not him. Maybe I'm not him.
Maybe not in stand up. Maybe if it was like if this all happened, if it happened faster. Then I think I'm having a bit of a slow grind, which feels like I'm able to relish in it, and nobody could really take this from me. But some other things I'm like, yo, maybe this is kind of crazy to me. Like I've garnered not the most attention. Like I'm not like dumb viral or anything like that. But like sometimes I'm like, you have to remind yourself, you know what? I deserve this, man. Alhamdulillah, man.
I feel
Nah, for sure. You got to sing your own phrases. Like, I can imagine, especially being a comedian, because some places you're going to go, people won't even know who you are, right? So you got to remember who you are, right?
Mm-hmm. I had that experience actually it was in Halifax. Well, I've never been to Halifax before. And most of these shows, and I'm booking the venues, right? And I'm just booking the venue, picking a date, and telling people, yo, come here, I'll be there.
Are they comedy clubs where people are going to be coming anyways? Or
some of them are comedy clubs. Some of them are just like studios that are just rented chairs, audio equipment, the whole shebang, and told people to forward. And the most interesting show of the tour so far was in Halifax, because Halifax is a place I've never been before in my life. And the first time I actually tried to go, there was a tornado or like a tornado warning.
Really?
So I had to cancel the show and refund everybody their tickets. Mind you, I was like, I only sold 25 tickets. So I was like, yeah, maybe I'll spin the block, guys. I'll be here. We almost sell this bitch out, man. And then I came back, and actually 25 tickets is a lot of people. That's more than enough. That's a good time. If you have 5 people in there, that's a great time as well. Yeah. But then, yeah, man, like literally I get there, and this is a completely different demographic than I've ever seen. I'm seeing like, there was probably at least 10 black people. It was like the small theater. I'm booking like these small theaters, like sits about like 75 people. And man, it had like about 80% white people, man. And I was like, yo, this is different, because in Toronto, most of these other cities, I'm putting like the marginalized group, I'm putting my people them, and these guys were like, yo, dude, I've been fucking following you for months, man. I can't wait for you. I was like, when I saw your name on the Eventbrite, I was like, yo, this dude's fucking finally coming, man. And I was just like, yes, thank you, man. Like, it was just rejuvenating. And I was like, yo, because most of my material is like, I'm talking about the shit that just appeals funny to me, and I think appeals funny to other people, but they were just vibing with it, man. They were like, yo, thank you for this experience. I'm talking about being like, my family, my father's Jamaican and my mother's Djibouti. Talking about being Muslim and like half my family isn't, and talking about going to Sudan and all these like, what's it like to be a Canadian and from my experience or like other, and it was just like, and these people are just vibing with it, man. Freaking Gertrude and Beatrice and shit like that. I said, that's what's up, man. Like I'm talking, these people are old. Like these were in their 50s and 60s.
I remember the worst show or worst crowd like response of a comedy show I ever saw. I was at like the comedy club. I forget what it's called. The one at Young and Eglinton. Is it Yuck Yucks? Yeah, I don't know. But I was there.
Young and Eglinton is Absolute.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because Absolute is one of those comedy clubs where everybody does well.
So I was there and it was a black girl and she was making jokes about how her dad used to beat her. Oh, and man. It was like an all-white audience. I promise you, there was like me and like two other black guys that would laugh. Everybody else was dead silent. And she literally came up to me after the show. She's like, "Yo, thanks for laughing." I was dying. I was like, "This is hilarious." But no, she's like, she even said in her set, she was like, "Wow, Young and Eglinton, I guess this isn't my demographic." And nobody laughed again. And she was like bobbing, but it was funny. I forget who it was, but it was a black girl that she was literally talking about.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, it was funny.
It's definitely tough sometimes with certain crowds, but I think it's funny, like Toronto, like us being such a melting pot and having like sometimes we'll be so diverse, you know. But here we feel like, oh yeah, everyone's an immigrant here, you know. When you go places like that and they look at you like this special import, like you're so exotic, like, you know. So it's tough when you
that's anywhere like outside of Toronto and like Vancouver in Canada. I feel like
pretty much or Montreal,
go to Winnipeg,
you know,
same shit, all white people.
Yeah, when I started doing comedy, there was one other comic in the scene. He was a black dude named Ola Data. He was from Calgary, but him and I started we were actually in school together at the same time, but he started a year before me. So pretty much every door that opened for him, I would kind of like
sneak in
and be like, "Oh, yo, how can I get time here?" And then all these spots. And so him and I were like the only two black people on the comedy scene. So whenever I'd bomb, I'd just be like, "Thank you guys, my name is Ola Data." I was like, yeah, man. They didn't know
to all of that, man.
Shout out to all of man. And yeah, man. But no, he definitely opened some doors, a lot of the doors for me. And then, but yeah, it was a lot of like making white people laugh in the very beginning. Yeah. And I found like in doing that though, you actually find a way to kind of like transcode it for them, like the things that you want to talk about.
Explain it.
You gotta explain it and make it like water it down for them. But now, like if you have the sauce or what you're talking about is saucy, man, you don't have to explain it. Then you get a crowd that you don't have to explain the nuances to them, and it saves more time and it's just more authentic. And I think I personally do, and I think the most people gravitate towards authenticity.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I was gonna say though, because like me and Jimmy's talked about this before on this pod, but I'm like, there's no millionaire black man or colored person that can't get rich without the money of the whites type shit. So it's like,
when do we talk about this?
With Lil Baby, when we were talking about Lil Baby, I was saying if Lil Baby like literally like eliminated his white fans, he would not be like anything. He would be irrelevant type shit. So I'm saying like for like comedy, with the way you're breaking it down, it's like those same white guys that are mad interested in your shit, those are the ones that are like, again, paying the tickets to come to your show and shit. And it's like you need all those fans. So it's like I get the authenticity side of it, but it's also like you got to cater to the people who fuck with you type shit. You know what I mean? It's like if they're out here wasting their Friday night or spending their Friday night to come see you, it's like, yeah, give them the performance of a lifetime. Even if that does mean dumbing down for them. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like that shit's so necessary for anybody who's trying to make it in any like media sense.
But do you feel like celebrity sense. Is it dumbing it down, or do you just got to make shit universally funny? Like,
it's not about. I haven't even played the game that way. I've kind of been playing it in the way like one of my friends, Samer, always used to say this even before I used to start comedy. But he used to say this phrase: "It was like go where you're celebrated and not where you're tolerated." And you know, like when I was working when I worked the clubs and stuff like that, you're kind of like at the beck and call of these bookers. They like have you like kind of like kiss the ring a little bit to kind of get some time or do the things that compromise your character or like your morals, your values, and principles. Not to say that they got you doing like, great.
They want you to try some pepperoni pizza or something.
yeah, man. Yo, we ordered a pizza, man. They're all pepperoni fills. You trying to eat? You want some time? No, that'd be crazy. How bad you want this time, man? Just pick it off. But it wasn't that. It was never really that deep. But then also I was like, man, how am I gonna do this? So there was a time when I was like, when I came back to Toronto, it was probably around the time that we met earlier on at that studio. I was like, I was doing I moved from Vancouver and I was doing a lot of shows in the city, but I was doing a lot of other people's shows. And comedy is traditionally done in like bars, lounges, clubs, and stuff like that, like strange venues for like people who, like Muslim people that wanted to come see me. But the thing is that, man, these people supported me regardless, man. Well, they don't even check the flipping address, man. They pull up.
Yeah.
They come and now I'm seeing them at the bar. I'm seeing hijabis at the bar sitting like, the Fox meme. The Fox meme just looking. They look all like this is not where they're supposed to be. And I know who they're there for. So I'm going over and I'm chatting to them like, yo, when are you on? And it's like a show where I'm only doing like 5 or 10 minutes. I'm getting paid some change. And after the show, they're kind of like, okay, I thought there was going to be this Phills or more of that. But, and so people were also telling me, I was getting messages like, yo, I want to come, but
I don't want to see 10 minutes.
I want to see 10 minutes. I don't want to go to these random places. What could you do? And at the time, I didn't really have that much time. Like I'm under my belt, maybe a material. I probably had about like 25 minutes, 30 to my name. And then even some of the jokes that I've retired, and I was talking about some crazy shit, like things that weren't a reflection of my character. And I was just like, and I just wanted to do something different. So I started booking these venues, booking these random places, telling them to come, and they did, and I've been doing the same thing ever since. And now, like, pretty much you go to any show, most of this very rare that I end up doing like an hour. I end up doing
that now. So like, when you go to like a Toronto comedy club, that's the same ones I used to follow.
But how long is your average show now?
Man, sometimes if I'm in Toronto, I'll probably do like an hour and 10, hour 15. If I'm in Edmonton, I'll go like an hour and 40 because no, it's because they ain't got shit to do, man. This fucking Edmonton, dog. I remember one time I was going over, I saw somebody yawn. I was like, yo, are you getting tired? He's like, yeah, but like, I'm like, yeah, but what are you gonna do after this? So he said, you right, man. Keep going, man. And so I was like, yeah, man. But I've been having fun with it. And so like, what I would do is just like I at the end of my set where I feel like I pretty much let it all go off the top. I go into my notebook and I'll be like, yo, I'm gonna try some of these new jokes, these ideas, these stories, and that way I have the time to kind of like. I could workshop it, and then I'll go back and I'll watch film like Kobe Bryant, and I'm just flipping, figure out where I could where I can make a body of work, where I can make a little joke transition after another, or add a tag here, and just figure out like a through line. Like this past year, when you asked me earlier, would I go for a Netflix special or do a
Rogan?
Rogan? I actually like a year ago, I thought I could record a special, right? Because I had like an hour. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this hour is perfect to me. And then I hired like a production company. I sold out this damn theater. Sold out like 800 seats, 800 tickets for the course of a weekend. We recorded 4 shows, 200 people a show. And honestly, the material, I was like, man, the footage, fantastic. Niggas had red cameras and everything, the whole shebang. The worst thing happened.
What?
The audio wasn't running.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
and you paid a production company.
I paid this production company, and they did. Yeah, man. I was honestly, man, I was very fed up. I was each day. Audio was like, even there was one lav. The backup was the lav, and the lav was peaking. So it was like you couldn't even use it, man. We had a stage, a whole setup design. And it's unfortunate. And I was like, you
did you get like a full refund? Like,
no, not at all, man.
What?
Shaking ass, man. Shaking ass. Charged it to the game, and then.
Now you had to go choke somebody out.
But then even now, I'm thinking about it too. I was like, man, maybe it was just meant to be, because also I was looking back at that material and that experience. You kind of like, I was like, man, I really didn't have a through line with this. I was just letting jokes fly. There was like no begin. There was a beginning. The middle was kind of murky. There's no story.
Yeah.
Now I've kind of like, even like a year later, in putting in this time and this effort, I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, I think I'm getting into, like, I've spent it. It kind of relates to basketball in the sense that, like, I spent so many years playing basketball before I was able to grab the rim. And I loved playing basketball then. So once I was able to grab the rim, I was like, that day was just like a whole new level. I was like, oh, okay.
I could almost dunk.
You know? And I already played I've already been playing for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, okay, a whole new level unlocked. So that's why I felt like, I was like, I've been already doing comedy for 5 years. And I just learned how to tap the glass. That's how I feel like in comedy. I'm not dunking yet, but I just figured out how to tap the glass and I'm cool.
And now you want to start to show that to people. Like, you feel like before it was a little too early.
A little too early. And I'm fine with that.
Did you like have like an idea of what you were gonna release it, or were you just recording it for yourself? Like,
I was recording it for myself. I had a game plan to kind of like sell out the tickets for the tour that I was on now, but thankfully I was able to fill the seats without it, and because I thought I needed that momentum in order to take me to the next level. But that's like my friend and comic Ian Lara, man. He said this on his podcast. It's like comedy isn't like becoming a lawyer or a doctor, where you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna do this many years of school, this many years of postgraduate or law school, and then I'm gonna become a doctor.
Yeah.
And it's like every year you're like, okay, I'm still doing comedy. Yeah. Another year, I'm like, okay.
It's kind of just waiting for someone to make the break, right?
Yeah,
because like think about it now, especially with like all this TikTok and Instagram reels and shit. You'll get the most like random, not random, but like these comics that come out of nowhere and are super hot, like super fast. Like you have like Shane Gillis, like he was a comedian for like 20 years, but then now because of this shit, like he's becoming like the biggest on like ever, just because like the algorithm's picking him up, or even like a Theo Von type shit. It's like, yeah, it's like all these guys like literally are just. They just paying their dues till they catch that break. You know what I mean? And I guess that Rogan interview would be for you, right?
And imagine if it goes the other way around. Like you get this big ass, the algorithm feeds you, and the algorithm starts showing you love, but then you don't have
the content behind it.
The content behind it, the sauce, the training, you know.
Yeah, you're not built to last. You know, you can't be authentic, like you said. Authenticity sells for sure.
Are you cutting up your shows right now and putting them online, like how all these comedians?
I've been cutting it up, and also I was like, man, what am I gonna do? Because I feel like I got like at least like a terabyte of like footage or something now, and I'm like, man, I've been hoarding it for my own sake, and just because the shows.
You don't want to burn the content?
Burn the content, but like you gotta shelve it properly.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure how to, but also, you know, it's kind of like I haven't learned yet to how to like let shit go.
Yeah.
And hopefully I want to make like a demo or something, like instead of like dropping a special just for, I don't know how to have that.
Dropping like clips, like the Andrew Schultz method, essentially, where it's like a joke a day type shit, or a joke a week. Like, would you ever do some shit like that?
Yeah, I've been posting like reels, and most of the reels that I've posted as of late are like jokes that I've kind of just like,
you're done with.
I'm kind of done with. But also like one of my favorite jokes was like the Scarborough love story was about my parents.
I like that one. I like that one.
My favorite was one of my favorite jokes, man. My favorite jokes, and now I can never tell it the same way. Because the internet, it's done wonders for me because it's putting that joke, giving that joke to the algorithm has put asses in seats.
Yeah,
for sure.
You know, but at the same time, when I can never tell that joke the same way.
But like, I feel like you could always repackage that joke, because it's just like I was saying with being from Toronto, it's a unique experience. That's why the joke hits so much. The same thing, like how they meet, it could be anything, man. Like what dinner was like, or how they like solve fights. Like every experience you had with your parents is probably going to be jokes, and people will probably relate to it because it's like, you know, that merging of cultures type of shit, you know.
No, you're totally right. That's where I'm getting to.
But then you also have like you know Bert Kreischer, right? He's like one of those fat white comedians. He's like a friend of Rogan's, and he has this joke called The Machine. and he tells it at every single show. Like the crowd would chant it at the end of the show, and he literally says the same bit every single show whenever they ask for it.
That's hilarious.
And it's crazy. Like, yeah, it's called The Machine, and then he ended up making a movie about it just now.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
nice.
It's funny.
That's the guy who takes his shirt off all the time?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I know him. Yes. I saw him at Just for Laughs. He's funny. Yes.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
Legend.
So who are your like favorite comedians? Let's say not to look up to necessarily, but like that you find the funniest.
Oh man, a lot of my favorite comedians are people that have been within my proximity.
Yeah.
My friend Dino Archie. He is from Fresno, California, but based out of Vancouver. But this guy is just like
different.
He's just different, man. He's a very funny dude, man. He has a special on YouTube that he produced himself, and he put out just about like around this summer, and I can't remember exactly what it's called. It's called.
What's his name? Just shout out.
Yeah, Dino Archie, man. Dino Archie. I think what did he call it, man? It's so funny.
I'll find it right now. Keep going.
He has a thing called like the blind leading. Toxic but safe. That's what. Toxic but safe. Yes, and it's hilarious, man. He's one of my favorites because he's within my proximity, man. And then aside from that, man, a big inspiration for me is like Ali Sadiq. Ali Sadiq, he's like a prolific storyteller. He started comedy in prison somewhere in America, but he has like this like his storytelling style is very allegorical. It's like the through line has always been there from the beginning and it's also in his presence or like what his identity. It's very through line driven, which I like. Yes, very much so, but still his own style.
So do you think you're being like I'm not saying like you're wrong, but I'm saying do you think you're being biased in the sense that these are your friends so you think they're the best, or do you think like if these guys had the opportunity, had the platform, people would also see the same way type shit?
Dino for sure. Dino
like he's objectively funny.
Objectively, you could put him in a room with I think any of the like these guys who are already up there, and he's peers with these people, and he's figuring out his business. But like it's like in comedy too. There's no comment section, you know. It's just the crowd. You could tell the energy in the room, and when that guy's on stage, sauce.
Like everyone's laughing.
Sauce, yes, for sure,
for sure.
Even like the way he treads water on like the subjects that he talk about, because it's also he gives his own perspective and you can't really be mad at it, which he does a very good job of that. Who else?
What would you classify your comedy as then? If like are you more storytelling too?
Yeah, very much so. I feel like everybody has like a friend like me that just isn't doing stand-up comedy, so when they see me they're doing it like, oh man, this guy this is my boy, man. I know this guy, man. You know, I was thinking I was watching film recently, and I'm like, I could have probably like a compilation video of me just dapping people up on stage. Like, who's ever in the front crowd, like, yo, you get what I'm saying, man? It just turns into like we're all like chilling in the McDonald's or some shit like that.
Would you ever get like at niggas though? Like, are you like roasting niggas in the front row and shit?
Yeah, if it's like if it's lobbed to me and it makes sense and I look like you could like it's a vibe we could have, but it's kind of weird actually taking that aggressive tone with a crowd sometimes, because then you feel like the substitute teacher that's trying to get like the class in order. Nah, man, we're not even trying to do work, man. We'll just whip the TV out, man.
No, I feel that. So, where are you mainly based out of? Toronto, Vancouver? Because you keep saying like all your friends are from Vancouver, right? Like all these comedies.
Okay, so I started comedy in Vancouver.
Yeah,
and I was doing comedy there for almost 3 to 4 years, and there I was just kind of like sharpening the tool. I started like late 2018, and then late 2018, and then 2019. I was kind of going. I never took time off. I was just always there's comics that'll say I've been doing comedy for 13 years, but like maybe 7 of those years they were going hard. I've been going hard all of them years, and And then the pandemic hit, and I was still like pandemic. Some people were like, "Yo,
were you doing those Zoom shows and shit?"
I was doing. I did the Zoom shows like a handful of times. To be honest,
that shit looks so dead.
Yeah, man. I did it maybe 2 times, and I was like, maybe this isn't for me. Then I started breaching quarantine and doing some things on the low ski. Yeah,
comedy shows under bridges.
Yeah,
and shit.
yeah, 100%, man. There was niggas doing shows outside and bandos and flipping like warehouses and stuff like that. It was pretty dope. And Vancouver was pretty open most of the time. So while everybody was kind of like taking a break, I was like, yeah, man. I was jumping on the content wave and creating content and doing stand up there. And then I moved. Even though I'm from Toronto originally, I came back here and just been.
So you're here now.
I'm here now, and here's where I'm able to kind of like pivot.
You have like a home base that you like to like. You're at most weekends type shit.
I always pop over to the comedy bars like on Ossington and Bloor.
Okay, yeah, I've been to that one too.
Yeah, a lot of like comics, they produce their own shows out of there, and you could just kind of like, hey, can I jump on? There's mics as well, open mics downtown. There's a few on that street. There's probably like 3-4 comedy clubs, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I would do an open mic, but like I don't want to like.
No, you'd be terrible. You'd be
I
terrible.
want to take the clout from these actual comedians. I don't want to be like, what? I would make
terrible.
Fucking.
But I gotta ask you though. Do you feel like with cancel culture being so big right now that like comedy's kind of dying off because of that, or what?
No, I think there's so much clout in cancellation, man. Because clout is like, cancellation is like
free publicity.
Yeah, man, it just means you're popping a little bit now. For it's like the new getting canceled seems to be like the new trending. Oh, you're trending now. It's it.
Yeah, it's true.
So you're just waiting to be canceled.
I'm not gunning for it. I'm not gunning for it. I'm kind of.
You don't have any like secret Jew jokes already?
Not at all, man. Not at all. I just.
Wink, bro.
That's crazy.
No, but I was like, it is true though, because it's like there's so many comedians that will get canceled, and you'd be like, "Yo, what do you get canceled for?" And then you go and do your own investigation and be like, "Yo, this nigga's funny as fuck." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that does happen.
Any like it's been a term all forever. It's like any publicity is good publicity, and it's like, bro, the people that are canceling you aren't the ones coming to your show anyways. Like those fucking blue-haired girls are just not gonna be pulling up. Like
I know exactly which ones you're talking about. Yeah, man.
There is a few times though, like let's say you take Kramer for instance, and it's like, well, I think he's funny, but then it's like he said what?
I don't even know what Kramer got canceled for, but it's like I'm not listening to Kramer anyways.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Wait, let me ask the question. Is there any politics that come with like comedy in Toronto scene essentially?
I think it's like it feels like any art, you know, like it's like the it's not as like it's not like in it's not like it is like in music. I would say
there's no comedy beefs.
There is comedy beefs, but it's not that deep. Like
well, I feel like nothing can be that deep with comedians because like you guys don't really care.
It's a joke, but nah, man, there is still like principle and things that you should stand on. Like I've gone into some situation. I got into a fight with not really a fight. Like I just
like an argument,
not an argument. And I punched that nigga in the face, man. Yeah, man. Every respect.
You respectfully. On business.
I was standing on business, man. He violated habitually, and I had to deal with it. So basically, the story is. It's just an older comic, man, and I had the utmost respect for him.
Because that I had.
I mean, I had the utmost respect for him until it got to where it got to. But basically, what was happening, dude was, I had like a few comics coming up to me telling me like, "Yo, what's going on with you and this dude, man?" I said, "What do you mean?" And here, my
material or shit.
Not material. He wasn't stealing material. He was just talking down like a little bit, like filling a room, and it was just a bit weird, you know. And I was like, "Oh, what is he saying? And why is he saying this?" And apparently he was like calling bookers, telling them not to book me, taking money out my pocket.
Out of his way.
Out of his way, a little bit weird.
That's wild.
And that part didn't bother me as much because it just wasn't working. You know, it didn't really affect me.
Wait. Is it the same dude who when you would bomb, you would say you were...
No, Ola? Ola's my dog. Ola my dog. No. That'd be hilarious though. What a story. What a villain era. But nah, man, he was basically he was talking, he was saying all these things, and I was like, but people were telling me this. When it came down to like 3-4 people telling me this, I thought it was a bit weird.
Then that's super weird.
Right? And
so that's only the people who told you. It could have been way more people.
Could have been way more people. But then I went and when I would see him in passing and live and direct, it was very buddy. And I was like, okay.
Oh, like freak shit. Hey, man, how you been?
Yeah.
Like,
And so this one, I was like, okay, this is a bit weird, man. It's not making sense to me. So at first, I kind of let it slide, you know? And then I realized, I'm like, wait, why am I allowing this to happen? This is a bit weird to me. So I said, you know what? The next time I see him, because he's still friends with like a bunch of mutual friends of mine as well. So out of respect for them, I said, yo, listen, I'm going to have a talk with your boy, because he's not really my friend like that. I said, yo, I'm going to have a talk with your boy and just kind of like figure it out. He's like, yeah, man, please, you're friends, I'm friends. Like, we just all be friends. Peace and love, right? And I approached him like in front of the comedy club, just outside of it. And I said, hey, can I have a word with you? And he's like, yeah, for sure. And then the friend was like, the third person that was there. He's like, okay, you guys go talk and we'll go do it. I said, yo, let's talk over here. He's like, nah, let's go around the corner. That's what he did. I was like, all right. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess like this is what we're on right now. And he goes, yeah, man, let's talk around the corner. I said, okay, cool. And I said, yo, listen, man, I'm hearing that you're saying and doing a lot of these things, and I just find it weird that
like why?
Why? And when when you see me, we're acting very buddy with me. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. And so he said, he goes, yeah, man, I just don't like you.
Oh, that's I rate that. Oh God, I rate that shit. Yo, I would say the same shit. If I don't like somebody, I would literally say, if someone was to confront me on some shit like that, I'd be like, I just don't like
let's just cut straight to it. I don't like you.
Yeah, he went straight to it. He's like, yeah, I just don't like you. And I said, oh, okay, then that makes sense now. Okay, that makes complete sense. And I was like, okay, you just don't like me. He goes, yeah. And I said, why not? And then he goes, first of all, you have no respect for the older comedians. You have no respect for me personally, XYZ. And I was like, it was a bit weird. And I was like, so I asked him to give me an example. And then he said, when we were in Montreal, and you forgot your wallet, and you said your phone was dead, so you couldn't use Apple Pay to buy food from Booston. Which I'm not gonna lie, that shit sounds like me.
Lost your wallet and phone is dead.
Yeah, I left my wallet at the hotel or the B&B, and my phone was there, so I couldn't use Apple Pay. And he's like, and I paid for you, and you never paid me back. And I was like, and on top of that, brother, we were having this conversation in 2023. That happened in 2020.
Dude, how old is this guy? Like, is he like a 20-year vet?
He's an adult, man. Maybe about 40 years old or something like that.
Like 20 years?
But yeah, he's holding on to that
10 plus.
Holding on to that $20 for
$20, man. And I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you, it hurt my heart. It hurt my heart to think like, man, if somebody really doesn't like you, man, they really hold on to everything, man.
So then once he said that, you just punched him in his face?
No, once he said that, I said, damn, man. I'm like, seriously, that's it? That's what it is? And he goes, yeah, man, that's it right there. And on top of that, I think he listed like one other thing, and it was just a bunch of bullshit.
I don't like the way you wear your fucking hat sideways and shit like that. What was it? Like some random shit?
I don't look. Yeah, your hat whack, your shoes whack, your ball, your comedy whack, all this other shit. And I was just like, okay. And I'm like, seriously? And he goes, then he started like doubling down and just being like, yeah, man, I did that shit. I'll call bookers. I'll tell them not to book you. I talk shit about you all the time. Man. And that's when I was like, I said, and he's like, and what are you gonna do about it? That's where he got me.
Yeah,
what he said?
Fighting words. That's fighting words.
And what are you gonna do about it? And that, to me, that's not a rhetorical question, man. Niggas gotta stop asking me that question.
Yeah, 100%.
What are you gonna do about it? And
I get force in my hand. Yeah.
And so I said, brother, we can figure out that shit right now. We'll figure that shit out right now. I had my backpack on. I freaking dropped it to the ground, and then just connected, and he fell to the floor. And I watched this video. It's funny. I watched this video like a week prior of this dude who hit somebody. Their head hit the pavement, and they died. And now that dude's like, was it manslaughter or one of those charges?
You manslaughtered him?
No. I hit him. He fell to the ground. I picked him back up, like respawn. Just go respawn. I hit him and I was like, yo, you good? Like kind of like I just wanted to I want to make sure I'm good, but I want to make sure I hit him hard enough so he learned his lesson. And I was just like, and I told him, yo, fight, man. You're talking all that shit, fight. And I saw him, he went for like his hand clenched up like Arthur, just like quick styles. Rather, I don't know what came over me, man. I've never done this before, but I grabbed the back of his head. I kneed him in his face.
This is what UFC be doing it, man. Oh.
Yeah, just the highlights. Yeah, man. I blame one of my boys. I follow. He posts in UFC fights all the time. The highlights on his story, and I think this is what got me. Yeah. I went boom, and the thing is that I can't like it turned it into like a whole combo because I need him, and I took him by his shoulders. I spun him around, and I put him in a headlock. But mind you, the man is like he's also like 4'11" or something like that. He's mad short. And
so he's abusing him.
Yeah. This is actually. It sounds like I'm hitting a kid now.
This guy's beating up a midget, right?
Child abuse.
No.
Give him a booster seat at fuck, nigga.
But then I put him in this headlock and I'm taking in. I'm like,
his feet are off the ground.
No, not even because I'm still hunched over.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm like, why the fuck am I doing that, man? Why am I? And then, so I stood upright, and that's when he was like, ah. And so I saw another comic was coming to help him or like coming to like deal with the situation, and so I just went wham, and I just like seismic toss. I gave him like a seismic toss, and threw him on the side. And I said, get up, man. You're talking all that shit, man. You're talking all this craziness, man. Fucking, let's fight.
Nigga can never tell a joke again.
Yeah, man. And then he goes, but this is what threw me off. He said, when he gets up, his eye's bleeding. I cut his eye a little bit, and he's bleeding. He goes, I'm not gonna fight you because I'm gonna be the bigger person. This is my place of work, and we're outside. We're in the alley or whatever and shit like this. I said, "Nigga, what are you talking about? We're outside the workplace, and what are you talking about? The bigger? You were just talking mad crazy, and then
asked me what I was gonna do about it.
Yeah, man, it was insane, and then that happened.
Did he rap after that?
So what happened was he went into the comedy club thinking. Like all the other comics would be like, "Oh my God, what happened? Who did this to you?" That's why I said.
He realized it's a dog-eat-dog world in the comedy world.
Yeah, but apparently nobody really like flinched. Nobody flinched. People are like, "Yo,
no," because if everybody knows this guy's calling around trying to like take money out your pocket, it's like shit's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, man. So I literally right after that, like he went into the comedy bar and I walked to the Jerk King. You know, I got a patty, a dumpling, a peanut punch for the irony, and then I walked back into the comedy club and I kind of just like I made my peace. I was trying to let people know like, yo, listen, that's not the type of person I am. That's not the way I move. But this was happening over the course of some
you're
time.
cracking jokes on him that same night?
No, the night after.
Oh, okay,
I went right back to work, man.
Yeah, you got to.
I went right back to work, man. It was, but yeah, that's the first time like I ever had to like. That's the first time.
You still see this guy
put hands on somebody?
Yeah, I see him like you know what? I'm not gonna, and he actually has a good heart. You know, he has a good heart because sometimes you just need like that TSN turning point to kind of just. Give you the better break for the halftime because
in his defense though, you still never paid him back.
Huh?
You still never paid him back.
Yo, you know what's crazy? I was walking. I was gonna because I have him as a payee. I was gonna send him. I was gonna e-transfer money while I was on my way to Jerk King, but then I was like, yo, maybe it's a little too petty, man.
No, that would have been funnier. That would have been like, yo, nigga, you hated me because of $20. Here's your $20.
Here's $20.
Now, beat your ass, bro.
Yeah. But no, man. After like maybe actually after a couple of days, I was outside the comedy bar in the same spot where I reached out to him, and then he's like, yo, can I talk to you for a minute? I said, yeah, for sure.
Did you think it was like a round two coming?
You know what? I was ready, man. I got my backpack off and everything. But nah, man, he came to me very amicable and was just like, hey, man, listen, I'm really sorry about that. Like, and I want to thank you. I said, thank me. He said, yeah, I really needed that.
And so you knocked some sense into him.
Yeah.
No, this guy's plotting something. Watch out. He's plotting. This guy in like 6 months is going to get his get back, bro.
Imagine he has a whole set dedicated to you. Crazy.
You know what's funny though? I was walking last week I was walking and I saw this girl. She was driving somewhere on Bloor. She was making a U-turn and shit. And the way she was making the U-turn, I thought another car was about to hit her because I saw a car coming. And here I am. I was on the phone. And I'm looking. I'm walking. And I walked right into a pole. I walked right into a pole. I had like a cocoa above my eyebrow. I had a bit of a black eye. And when I went into go hang out with my boys, they were like, "Yo, what happened? Did what's his name get his get back?" And
everybody knows this guy's playing the long game, bro. I can tell. Playing the long game. Watch your back.
Yeah, they're
but nah, man, good dude. We hashed it out. You know, he's still it's the game.
The bridge now, right?
Yeah, water under the bridge, man. You got to keep that shit moving.
Do you have any intentions to go down to like Austin right now to do some comedy? Because I know that's like where the big comedy hub right now is for everybody, right?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely have like plans to go at least across the border. At the moment, I've just been so focused on like tending to, building my brand and building myself, actually building my set to where I am. Like I think it's very important to have like one of my boys was mentioning to me is, man, it's very important to have like as an artist to have like a healthy ecosystem around you to kind of help you flourish. Kind of like how like an NBA player, like imagine you get drafted to the league and you're just like in the worst organization. Yeah.
This guy John Morant does not have that healthy ecosystem.
Yeah, I'm not waving guns on live. You know what I mean? I'm very different. But he's like, yeah, man, you just have to have like an ecosystem. Like right now in Toronto, I'm able to find places where I could do ample amount of time or get enough reps in the week to kind of like work, shop my sets. Whereas like if I move down to Austin and just don't know anybody or know any, I mean like you gotta take a shot in the dark. But
but it's gonna be back to doing 5-minute sets, 10-minute sets all over again, right? So that'd be tough.
You gotta be prepared to start over.
When's your next show? You have shows in Toronto coming up?
I think I have. I think I'm doing this one. No, I don't even have anything in Toronto really.
You don't have no plans to go up this weekend. If me and Jimmy wanted to just pull up
this weekend, no, I'm going. I leave Friday for London, and I'll be there for about 2 weeks.
We'll have to hop on a plane.
Yeah, come through, man. That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
No, that sounds sick. So that's like the last leg of your tour, and then you're done.
Yeah, and then I'm done. I'm probably gonna add more for 2024. That's the goal. Sick. 2024 plans.
Well, do you have like a favorite moment of the tour? Like the most, like I know you said the Halifax story, but it's like, is there any like moment that you're like, wow, mom, I made it type shit?
Honestly, when I did Ottawa was really cool because I have my uncle lives in Ottawa and he came to watch me perform for the first time, and this is a guy who used to like babysit me and shit. Yeah. And so he was like, oh man, Hassan, you have to be an accountant, and you know. And so for him to come and watch me perform was dope. And then on top of that, my mother took the train down to surprise me, so she came to the shows as well. And I was doing 2 shows that night. And yeah, man, it's just honestly, it's very surprised. It's just you're very grateful to the point where like a group of strangers come to see you and have a good time, because that's that's like the goal of every like stand-up comic, right? Is to like make strangers laugh, and that's the best part. So but I'm trying to think of a specific city, man. Calgary was great. Like,
I've been to Calgary. I liked it there. It was like, it felt mad American, that city. Like it's weird. It's like because you like a Texas vibe type shit.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I did a cross Canada road trip and that was mad fun. But we're gonna start wrapping this up. There's something that we like to do with all our guests before we get going. Do you have like we want to know, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, and like what's your goals and aspirations type shit?
Next 5 years, I'm not even too sure, man. Though,
throw shit to the walls.
Yeah, it's like the manifest and
this guy Jimmy's into his crystals.
Yeah, I like man. I want to just I want to be doing comedy all over the world. I want to do shows in flipping Japan, Dubai, flipping London on a regular, America at that. Honestly, my goals are
Netflix special in the next 5 years.
Netflix. If Netflix is still streaming, if that's the thing,
that's the place.
Whatever,
so
whatever.
You're gonna outlast them regardless. Huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to outlast. Yeah, that's exactly the goal, man. I want to outlast any platform.
Yeah.
But shit, I would love to work with. I would love to work with I like working with Trey and Jay from For Y'all Entertainment.
Those guys are funny.
Those guys are my guys, man.
My guys.
Yeah, man, those guys are my favorite people.
I used to watch them when I was a kid, actually. Like For Y'all Entertainment, I used to watch that shit on YouTube all the time. I would follow their drops and stuff. I met them once, in passing, but yeah, it's cool. I fuck with those guys too.
Yeah, we all got to make a movie or some shit.
Yeah, man. Those guys are working and cooking up some greatness, man. So.
You got any questions for us before we wrap it up?
Yeah, man. How you guys feeling? How you guys enjoying the pod? Like the journey on the pod so far?
Jimmy, you want to go first?
I think it's great. Well, are we almost at a year yet? Like, how close are we?
Probably like 2 months off, a month and a half.
Yeah, so we've been at it for 10 months.
February, yeah.
Yeah, 10 months, and I think it's been good so far, Feels good just to have something to consistently come to, like just knowing that, you have your own outlet to get stuff out, You don't got to wait for someone to come interview you. And then plus we got to interview interesting people all the time. So.
Yeah, meeting mad interesting people, bro. Like that's like the sickest part to me. Is like, bro, me and you probably would never have sat down and had a conversation like this. And it's like, bro, I think you're a mad interesting person. I think that's the coolest part to me. The biggest appeal to me is meeting the guests that we bring on rather than actually, but I think the podcast is sick. Like I think it's fun. It's just fun to do. Something to sit down and just talk to your nigga for an hour every week type shit.
How many comics have you guys interviewed?
This year, second. Well, you're the second. So my boy Marlon, who I
Palmer?
grew up with. No. McLashland.
But he's more of like a TikTok.
Yeah, he's a TikTok. He was saying how he wants to try stand-up comedy for the first time. When
you're
he
the
was
first
on the
stand-up comic for sure.
But he's like a TikTok comedian kind of thing. He does sketches and stuff. But yeah, so he had him on, and he's a funny dude. But comedian, stand-up comedians, you're the first.
Oh, sick!
You popped our cherry.
That's whoa. Yeah, man. Damn.
Sick guy.
Yeah, sick guy, man. Pause.
This guy just made it kinky for no reason. That's crazy.
Hey, come on now. Hey, Jimmy, you have anything else you want to get off before we get going?
No, I'm chilling, man. I think it was nice having you, to be honest. Thank you for coming through. You're part of the Northern Ruckus family now. You come through whenever you want, man. Whenever you have some new material dropping, you doing a special or something like that, just come through.
For sure.
Yo, shout out your Instagram, your YouTube if you have, and everything, all that before we get out of here.
Yeah, for sure. My name is Hassan Phills. You can follow me at Hassan Phills and on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Shorts, all of that.
All right. That's been another episode of Northern Ruckus. Peace.
Peace.